structural law why hope destabilizes Fromville. In Fromville, hope isn't a virtue, it's volatility. Every time a resident pushes for the truth, the environment reacts mechanically to restore balance. This isn't about good versus evil, it's about boundary mechanics. From the melting ice to the shortening cycles of 1978 and 2022, the blueprint is failing. Join me as we archive the final days of a collapsing system. In Fromville, there's an intriguing pattern that has nothing to do with monsters. It's all about timing. Contrary to popular belief, Fromville isn't a mythical forest, but rather a containment engine grappling with a century of ineffective waste management. Every significant destabilizing event follows a familiar rhythm. Someone discovers too much too quickly, and the environment reacts, not emotionally or morally, but mechanically. Here, knowledge doesn't simply act like information, it behaves like pressure. When understanding builds gradually, the town remains tense yet stable. But if insight comes too soon, if someone reaches beyond what the structure can handle, the system pushes back. It's not punishment, it's correction. The saying knowledge comes with a price shouldn't be seen as mystical. Instead, it's more like a structural law. Each revelation shifts the balance, and if that shift exceeds what the system can tolerate, something has to compensate. Tabitha's climb up the tower wasn't a spiritual victory. It sparked turbulence, a storm, and ultimately collapse. The aftermath felt in line with the exposure she faced. This pattern recurs. Attempts to bypass boundaries lead to instability. Dig too deep, venture too far, or cross thresholds completely, and the system reacts. Not when someone merely observes from the edge, but when they take that leap. This distinction is vital. Fromville operates on boundary mechanics. It welcomes observation but resists intrusion. This is where the earlier myths need a bit of refinement. The environment functions like a closed containment system, striving to maintain internal balance. In this context, hope isn't nourishment, it's volatility. Hope fuels action, which drives discovery, putting stress on the structure. When residents rush towards structural truths, destabilization ensues, not because the system is malicious, but because systems naturally resist sudden imbalances. The man in yellow doesn't have to be a cosmic judge. He might act more like a regulator, an interface bound by the same constraints as everyone else. He talks about cost because imbalance invariably leads to compensation, not spiritual debt, but structural correction. The blueprint serves as the foundational code connecting the 7 children and 12 parents, not as a prophecy, but as a structural framework. If the system were functioning optimally, these cycles would be long and stable. However, the windows for synchronization are getting shorter. The period from 1978 to 2022 marks a significant collapse in that interval. This containment framework means that those who catch glimpses of it can experience overload, not because the knowledge is cursed, but because partial understanding destabilizes faster than a fully integrated one. Timing is everything. If knowledge emerges too early, the system destabilizes. If it appears too late, stagnation deepens. There seems to be a very narrow window of tolerance between compression and collapse. As the ice melts, the system appears less stable, not more. Melting indicates the release of stored imbalance. If earlier cycles acted as pressure valves, the current phase might represent either another adjustment or a failure to adapt. Sheds light on the tower. It's not a mythic axis mundi. It functions more like a synchronization structure. During certain historical moments, 1506, 1773, 1978, 2022, the system seems to enter alignment states. These intervals are shortening over time, hinting at escalating instability. This isn't about destiny, it's about degradation. If the environment is indeed a containment field, then tower activations might signify temporary synchronization during these windows, introducing new variables. Pressure redistributes, not resetting, but adjusting. If adjustments are happening more frequently, the system isn't growing stronger, it's compensating more rapidly. The environment persists because the containment is active. It isn't waiting. It's maintaining. The perception of hostility may simply stem from the enforcement of equilibrium. The real danger lies not in malevolence, but in exposure. When a host accumulates too much insight too quickly, destabilization follows. If too many boundaries are crossed in a short span, the need for correction intensifies. When alignment intervals shrink dramatically, structural fatigue becomes apparent. A system under strain isn't about defeating a sentient forest, it's about whether the containment can endure further imbalance. If knowledge continues to accelerate, if boundaries keep thinning, and if synchronization intervals keep collapsing, the result won't be another cycle. It will be structural failure. In a closed system, harmony doesn't arise. It leads to rupture.